It's time for all of us to go on a small tour. What place is this? Our favorite Bangladeshi tourist spot, right? So I was sitting down in one fine holiday in Cox's Bazar with my nephew. And obviously we had this generational gap between us, which numerically is around 20 years. So he was kind of within the age bracket of 10 and 12, right? And from this unique experience, I think I can tell you that we were enjoying Cox's Bazar in our own unique ways. So I was enjoying Cox's Bazar by listening to the wonderful sound of the water, cool breeze gushing down my face, right? Bright sunshine. And his way of enjoying Cox's Bazar was very different. Can anyone guess what that way is? iPad, right? So he was enjoying Cox's Bazar, being hooked to an iPad. Now, he asked me out of the blue, Mama, what's your favorite action superhero? And right away, from the top of my head, Batman, always.
Yes.
And then I asked him, what is your favorite character? And he says, Spider-Man. And trust me when I say this, those 10 seconds was the longest conversation I had with that person. Right? And roughly after 2 minutes, he passes his iPad to me and he says, how does this look like? And I was like, what did you do? And he's like, I needed to portray what we were doing in the faces of Batman and Spider-Man. So you see Batman and Spider-Man chilling in Cox's Bazar. Right? Now, that got me thinking that artificial intelligence has touched our lives more in depth than we can think. It's more depth and it's more wide, right? So, starting from engineering to architecture to medical sciences to supply chain management, marketing, accounting, finance, all these fields are getting disrupted with artificial intelligence. Right? Now, coming to my topic of the day, because I'm very much involved in recruitment, so my field is how we're using artificial intelligence in the field of talent acquisition. Right? Now, before we move on to that, let's do a quick hand raises. How many of you have resonated with this statement at least once in the last 3 months? Raise of hands. That's almost like 90% of the venue. Wow. All right. So I share a common concern with you, right? All these advances in artificial intelligence are great, right? But there is still a little bit of a lingering concern around, right? So this is an article from Harvard Business Review that specifically says that AI is going to change the way we work. And as leaders, we need to adapt accordingly. Now, interestingly, that same article picks out some categories of jobs that will be completely replaced by artificial intelligence. People at the back, can you confirm whether it's clear? Can you see the jobs that are getting replaced? Okay. So I'm pretty sure everyone understands the type of jobs that are getting replaced. Now you can take a big sigh of relief. Yes, my job is not getting replaced anytime soon, right? As of 2024, you people are not in a grave danger of getting replaced by artificial intelligence. However, there's a high possibility that you may get replaced by someone who can use artificial intelligence, right? Okay. Moving on to how artificial intelligence impacts the talent acquisition process, right? So over here, we're gonna deep dive into the tools that recruiters use when they evaluate candidates, when they onboard candidates, when they make an offer to a particular candidate, and so on. So basically the tools that are available to the recruiters when they are evaluating your job applications. Moving on. So this is how a typical talent acquisition cycle looks like. Alright, so I'll just move here so that you can get a clear picture. Stage number 1 is where the company creates a job description. So this is basically a document that says what the company is about, what sort of expertise are they looking for, what is the number of years of experience that the ideal candidate should have. It's a plain and simple document, right? Stage number 2 is candidate sourcing, which means you put this job description in candidate sourcing channels. So in Bangladesh, we typically use channels like LinkedIn, Facebook, BD Jobs, and many others, right? Stage number 3 is we collect the entire pool, we screen them, and then we shortlist them, right? So let's say we have received 1,000 applications. From those 1,000 applications, we're going to create a short list of, let's say, 50 candidates, right? That is done in stage number 3. Stage number 4 is assessment. So you give out assessments to these 50 people to find out their expertise in that specific subject matter. After that, we move on to interview, and finally an offer is made and the candidate is onboarded. Now, within this talent acquisition cycle, how is artificial intelligence being used? It's extremely important for the applicants to understand what's happening here. Because the recruiters have like tons of artificially intelligent platforms. So as applicants, you need to understand how they are evaluating you so that you can ace that process in the long run. Starting off with applicant tracking system. Does anyone know what this is? ATS? No one. Okay. So applicant tracking system is basically a platform that creates job description, that puts the job description in the sourcing channels, that screens and shortlists candidates for the recruiters. Okay? So if you can go back to the talent acquisition cycle, the first 3 stages are covered by this platform. Right? Now you might be thinking, if I just know Google Forms and Google Sheets, I can do it myself. Right? I mean, I can collect the applications using Google Forms, and then after I receive all the data, I can just put in some filters, and Google Sheets will automatically give me a good pool of relevant candidates, right? I'm pretty sure the smart folks in this audience would know that process, right? Now, this is where things get beyond Google Sheets. Artificial intelligent ATS systems match the keywords in your resume and the job description, all right? Let's give you a flavor of that. So this over here is a candidate who has expertise in a startup accelerator. So this candidate has been working for around 4 or 5 years in a reputed Bangladeshi startup accelerator. Specifically, let us just focus on point number 1. So this candidate has been guiding startup founders on digital marketing strategies, business models, and pitch decks, right? And this candidate wants to apply for a position that kind of looks like this. So if you specifically look at the purple bullet, right? This particular job is looking for someone who has managed multiple portfolios in their startup journey, right? Now, from these 2 points, you can understand that this candidate is actually a pretty good fit for this particular position, right? Now, the problem with this is if you look at the keywords here, this one says work, right? And this one over here says guided, right? If you just replace the word guided with worked, automatically the AI in the artificial intelligence system and the ATS will pull your rank upwards, right? So if you were at the bottom of the pile, changing that one simple word will put you higher up that list, right? So this is what AI is doing right now. You cannot use the same resume in all your job applications. You need to tailor that resume according to the job description that you're applying for. This ATS will match the keywords and then rank you higher in the short list, right? Moving on to assessment, right? So this was the stage 4 of the talent acquisition cycle, right? So we have like a ton of assessment tools that we use to analyze candidates, right? Starting off with a chatbot, right? So this chatbot interacts with the candidates. They asked the candidates a bunch of questions. The candidates answer those questions, and the chatbot automatically pulls the candidate to the next stage or rejects the candidate right away. How many of you have applied for a job and never heard back? Again, pretty much the entire venue, right? What sort of impression do you get of those companies? I'm pretty sure it's not a very positive experience, right? I mean, you end up waiting for 3 weeks, 4 weeks, 2 months, 3 months, the company never reaches out, right? So that's a big problem. Chatbot takes care of that. So you instantly get rejected, or you're moved to the next stage of the talent acquisition cycle, which is pretty efficient compared to the traditional process. Moving on to role-specific assessments. Role-specific assessments are specifically tailored for one particular vacancy. So if we go back to that position of accelerator lead, right? What sort of skills do we need? Program management, Google Workspace, community management, and some others. So you specifically create an assessment with these tests. So you come up with a program management test, you come up with a Google Workspace test, so that you're actually focusing on the skills that this candidate will use in that particular position, right? This is what we call as a role-specific test. Moving on to gamification. This is another way of evaluating candidates. So basically the candidates are put in a gamified environment. The candidate interacts with virtual elements in that game, and then the candidate solves problems in that specific game. Now gamification is slowly moving towards another level, which is virtual reality, right? So when the game is put in a VR headset, and when you are interacting with those objects in the VR headset, that becomes a VR gamification platform, right? So these are all about assessments. Now let's take another quick poll. How many of you are scared of the process so far? I mean, you should be, right? I mean, look at the arsenal of artificially intelligent platforms that the recruiters are using, right? And I mean, allow me to leave the venue peacefully because I am also the one developing these platforms to evaluate you people, all right? So I hope I can leave the place nicely without getting like a lot of problems here. Okay? So moving on. Now, I'm going to share a little bit of a cheat code with you to how to ace this process. Because I'm a recruiter myself. I've been recruiting for multiple companies in Bangladesh and in the international market. So, what are some of my observations here? Right away off the bat, what I can tell you is there is a massive imbalance of resources available to the recruiter versus what's available to you people, right? And if you go to the recruiter's market, there are minimum 250 plus platforms. What do you have? I give you a lot of it, right? So this is where there is a major imbalance between what the recruiters have and what the candidates have. So there needs to be a level playing field here so that you have some resources which you can use to ace this process, right? Now, take 10 seconds, take a deep breath, and think about that mentor in your life who actually helped you a lot. I'm pretty sure everyone has that one person, right? I mean, without that one person, probably you would have been in a different place. Probably not as good as you are right now, right? So just think of that mentor. Draw a persona of that person, right? What sort of person are we drawing right now in our heads? Probably someone who is at least 2 to 3 years ahead of us in their professional ladders, right? Probably someone who's extremely knowledgeable in that specific subject matter. Probably someone who has good industry experience. Probably someone who has studied abroad, right? So that is probably the ideal mentor who actually helped you grow professionally, right? Now, let's make that mentor available to you 24/7 whenever you need this person. So the big idea over here is an artificially intelligent mentor, right? And this mentor will have all the questions to all your queries, right? Just think about that one mentor you drew in your head. And that mentor is available to you 24/7, right? Moving on. Now, let's go back to that talent acquisition cycle, right? Let's say you want to apply for that job. Now, you have no clue what to do, right? So you can ask the most stupid questions possible, and that mentor will not judge you at all, right? So you ask that mentor, hey buddy, analyze the job description and suggest me ways using which I can edit my resume, right? I'm pretty sure you remember that ATS matches the job description with your keywords, right? But you don't have to do it yourself. You just ask this person, and the person does the job for you. He says, you're a good fit for this position, what I would recommend is you do this. So that was the profile of that candidate, right? And the mentor says that, why don't you rephrase that specific bullet, and then you write this. This will help you rank higher in that ATS platform. Right? Cool stuff, right? I mean, you do not have to spend hours to edit your resume for every job you apply to, right? This mentor takes care of that. And this gets done in 5 seconds, right? Moving on. So let's say that you have passed the first stage, right? You ask your mentor, I just received an email that says I passed the initial screening. What sort of assessments should I expect? Right? And the mentor comes up and says that you may expect to get questions based on startup acceleration and venture capital, right? Now you may think anyone can see this, right? I mean, why do I need an AI mentor for this? This is where the difference is made. So the mentor suggests you specific programs that you can go through that can upskill your application, right? You can earn more skills, you can become more prepared for the job, and then you can apply, right? Moving on to the next stage. So finally you receive that offer, right? That company has really liked your application, the interview was fantastic, everything is going well, right? And you receive that offer. Now you ask your AI mentor, so I received this offer, what do you think, right? Now the AI mentor says, congratulations, I'm super happy for you. You know, but there's always a but, right? But the offer is 10 to 15% less than what the company usually provides. What you should do is, you should ask for 15% more, right? So this mentor is guiding you in a manner that your mentor would have, right? But your mentor is also busy in his life. He probably has a family. He is busy in his work. I mean, he's not available to you 24/7. But we are making that mentor available to you 24/7, right? Now, that's about it. Thank you so much.